Hey friends, Shay here. So this is going to be my review for the lovely book, You, Me, and Our Heartstrings by Melissa C. So I'm going to start this video with a spoiler-free review, and then I will have a spoilery vlog starting after I finish this part. So if you want to know all the things about the book, feel free to check out the spoilery section, but I will be doing the spoiler-free review. For those of you who are just interested in the book, you see the cover floating around and you want to know what's going on with this. So in this book, we are following two characters. We are following Daisy and we are following Noah. They are both high school students. This is a YA contemporary romance I should have started with. I'm sorry, I'm so excited to talk about this book that I'm stumbling over my words a little bit. Daisy and Noah. Daisy has cerebral palsy and plays the violin. Noah is a cellist with anxiety. So, as we get to know these two characters, they have been tasked to perform this duet at the holiday concert. At the holiday concert, representatives from Juilliard always attend. And these representatives are the people who end up picking people for live auditions for Juilliard in the spring. And so, Daisy and Noah are both very excited about the prospect of this concert. And they both know how important it is. So Noah, because of his anxiety, thinks he has to do it a certain way because this is what his brothers, who are equally talented musicians, have done in the past, and he feels like he has to do the same. Where Daisy is like, why can't we do something that's not 600 years old? Let's do something modern. Let's do something fun. And so they're having a hard time agreeing on a piece. As these two get to know one another and work together on their duet, they begin to slowly start falling for one another. Granted, Daisy has always noticed Noah and always thought he was super cute and really wanted to get to know him better, but he kept himself very closed off. Through this duet with Daisy, he starts to become friends with Daisy and her friends and opens himself up a little bit and lets people into his circle. And it's beautiful. And this book does a lot of heavy lifting. There are some content warnings. I'm going to also leave my Goodreads review down below because all of the content warnings are listed there. But due to the anxiety, there are panic attacks on page. And due to Daisy's cerebral palsy, there is ableist language throughout the book. So if those are triggers for you, please tread cautiously as you enter this book. I know the author personally, so this is a slightly biased review, but I can honestly say that I've not read a better YA contemporary in the last 5 years. Period. End of story. That's an easy thing for me to say. I was blown away by this book, as you can see by the mountain of tabs that are now tabbing this arc. And this book comes out in the US in mid-July. I'll have the exact date right here. And it is already out in the UK. So if you are in the UK, you can pick this book up at any time. Knowing that, I'm going to let you guys know that this book is fantastic. I highly recommend that you pick it up. And Daisy and Noah go on quite the journey together. I guess the one thing I should mention, it's kind of a big plot point, but Daisy and Noah, their duet ends up being filmed and it goes viral. And they have to deal with the ramifications of what going viral means, and especially what that means for Daisy having her cerebral palsy. So with all of that, and with all of that information, I'm going to leave you to the spoilery section of this video. If you are not here for the spoilery section, please pick up You and Me and Our Heartstrings. Again, it is another book that I think does a lot of heavy lifting and is truly brilliant and is full of love from the author. And I will see you guys in the spoilery section. Hello friends, welcome to the vlog portion of this video where I am going to take you on the journey of reading this amazing book called You, Me, and Our Heartstrings, written by my very dear friend Melissa over at Melissa C. I will leave her linked down below so you can go and check out her stuff. But this is her debut novel through Scholastic. I am so proud of her. I've been hearing about Daisy and Noah for a very long time now, and I am finally sitting down to read Daisy and Noah. I know Melissa's been waiting for my reactions for this for a very long time. She and I tend to nerd out and geek out over very similar things, so I am going to take my time with this because part of me just wants to sit down, read it in one sitting, and tell you everything. But at the same time, I want to marinate on this, and I want to take my time, and I want to be very detailed so I can give the most thorough of reviews for my very dear friend. So with that said, I will be annotating this. So I've got my little code in the front of the book of what everything is going to mean, and I'm very, very excited. I've also got my highlighter and my pencil so I can write my thoughts as I go. Since this is my art copy, I don't feel bad just kind of marking it up and loving on it hard, because I do plan on getting a hardcover copy to keep pristine and loved in my collection. So I am very much looking forward to this. This may be slightly biased, but I do promise to be as honest as I can, just because I love Melissa so much and I want this to do well for her. But at the same time, I'm very excited about what she's doing here. Let me read you the back of the book real quick, and then we'll get going. Daisy and Noah have the same plan: use the holiday concert to land a Juilliard audition. But when they're chosen to play a duet for the concert, they worry that their differences will sink their chances. Noah, a cello prodigy from a long line of musicians, wants to stick to tradition. Daisy, a fiercely independent disabled violinist, is used to fighting for what she wants and likes to take risks. But the two surprise each other when they play. They fall perfectly in tune. After their performance goes viral, the rest of the country falls for them just as surely as they're falling for each other. But viral fame isn't all it's cracked up to be. No one seems to care about their talent or their music at all. People have rewritten their love story into one where Daisy is an inspiration for overcoming her cerebral palsy, and Noah is a saint for seeing past it. Daisy is tired of her disability being the only thing people see about her, and all the attention sends Noah's anxiety disorder into high speed. They can see their dreams coming closer than it's ever been before, but is the cost suddenly too high? I mean, how can you not want to love a book that is featuring a disabled main character and a main character with anxiety and music and New York and nerdiness? Because I know Melissa, she's snuck some Broadway or something in here. So I even have a spot for nerding out. Like, I have a little annotation for it just because I know Melissa. And yes, so I am very, very excited for this one. And though YA and I haven't been getting along very well as of late, I will preface this vlog with that. I really am excited for this one because, again, because I know Melissa, I'm very excited because I'm 95% sure I'm going to love this. If I don't, I'm going to be so super sad. But with that said, I really don't think that's going to happen. Okay, so chapter 1, done. Melissa, ma'am, you made me swoon twice in 3 pages. In chapter 1. What? Ma'am. I've already texted her this, but I have to yell at her again. Ma'am! Don't do this to me. Anyways, needless to say, I'm loving it. Noah and his little anxious heart is being a bit of a jerk right now, but we're now going to get his perspective. So I know it's going to be okay. All right. So I have had to sir Noah twice already. Actually, 3 times. But anyway. So real quick, basically we've just gotten to the bare bones of the story, but we're seeing that people are already assuming that Daisy was chosen because of her disability, which of course is not okay and not the truth. And Noah is spinning himself in circles with his anxiety because he feels all this pressure to be a certain way in his family, because his family makes very casual comments that put a lot of pressure on him. And being someone with anxiety, I can definitely see all of that. So I'm really loving this so far. I've already been tabbing. I've been texting Melissa. Like, it's already a mood and a moment, and I'm already loving it very, very much. So I'm very excited to see how this is going to continue. I'm going to take a break. It's a Sunday afternoon, so I'm going to watch a movie with my hubby for a bit. And then I'll come back to this. And I am just really enjoying myself and cannot wait to share more of my thoughts and to keep going. All right, so I just finished chapter 4. And I feel like we're finally getting to the part where they are understanding the core of one another. Noah has now admitted that he wants to do a classical piece instead of a contemporary piece because that's what both of his brothers did. And that's how they got into Juilliard. And so he assumes he has to do the same thing to get in and to keep his family proud of him. And so his brothers have a YouTube channel. And so Daisy suggests that they compose a piece for them. She will play whatever they compose, even if it's classical. So I'm really interested to see how this is going to shake out and how they're going to go viral from here. Because we know that they go viral. It's on the back of the book. I'm only 35 pages in, and look at all my tabbies. Like, so much is going on that I'm so excited about. Noah's family is very present in the forefront of the story. And Daisy's family is a little more in the background, but they're still present in her life. Not as much as she would like, but they're still there. So that is already a win for this book, because so often in YA novels, the parents are like nowhere to be found. So having actively participating parents, Melissa's texting me right now because I keep texting all of my things to her and like my little highlights and moments. Like Noah had a great moment in chapter 4 where he stands up for Daisy to this idiot. And I was like, yes, King, stand up for your queen. That's how it's going to go here. And yes, I'm just really excited with where this is headed. I'm so proud of my friend. Like, I continue to grin as I read this book. There's little nerdy references already. And yes, so I am very, very excited to see how this one continues to evolve from here. And yeah, so I'll read a couple more chapters. It seems like we're doing a heavy rotation of one perspective than the other, but I do expect that to change a little bit going forward, because I just have this feeling that when certain key things happen, we'll get more perspective from one or the other. So up to this point, it's been pretty much alternating Daisy Noah in the chapters. So I think from here, we'll progress a little further where we might spend a couple of chapters in one of their perspectives and vice versa. So at least that's what I'm hoping. I don't know for sure, but we shall see. I've read a couple more chapters. So I've now finished chapter 6. And they were both from Daisy's perspective. And I'm still teary. Particularly about chapter 6. In this chapter, Noah makes what he thinks is an innocent joke because her cerebral palsy flares up and she has to pause in the middle of their piece. And so he jokingly says, oh, well, I hope that doesn't happen during our performance. And that lets the wind out of Daisy's sails, and she calls him on it. She's like, do you have any idea what this means for me? Like, people see my disability before they see me as a musician, me and my talent, anything. And she breaks down, and he is just the perfect sweet little bean, dabbing her tears off with his little cardigan and just saying, I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. Because I see you as a musician, not as anything else. And it was just such a beautifully written moment. And you can tell. I'm going to cry again. You can tell that Melissa lived this moment in some form or another. And so she put it on page for everybody like her. And that is just such a beautiful thing to read. And it's so organic and it feels so good. And to have him just process it and say, okay, let's move forward. Let's keep practicing. And they do. And they have this beautiful like moment of synergy musically because she's been able to get that off her chest. And he just accepted that and moved forward. And it's amazing. Yep, there it is. There's a tear. So in this, we also, they practice at Simon's house. So you see his parents and how they interact with Daisy is really sweet. I really like them. I'm 50 pages into this book, and I can tell you this is going to be one of the best books I read all year. This book is coming from a place with so much heart and so much love. And it's in every page of this book. And this, I'm not saying this just because I know Melissa. I'm saying this because you can tell. you can tell reading it that it's written by someone who's lived it. And that is everything that we need in literature right now. So I'm going to go clean up and I'm going to get back to this book. I just finished chapter 10, and man, Melissa's doing a lot of heavy lifting early in this novel. Because basically the last chapter is, basically what's happened now is Noah's had a panic attack in front of Daisy. So, trigger warnings for panic attacks. If you can get secondhand panic attacks from watching someone on page have a panic attack, know that is a trigger. I will have a full list of content warnings down below if you need them. And probably in the first part of this video, because I plan on doing a spoiler-free review at the beginning and then this afterwards. So, check down below if I forgot to mention that before, basically is what I'm saying. Basically, it's been a couple of days since then, and Daisy has Noah at her apartment. They had planned on rehearsing, and her parents got surprised with tickets to The Lion King. She's stuck with babysitting duty for her 2-year-old sister, but thankfully her sister likes music, so Daisy and Noah can still rehearse, and it doesn't disrupt them too much. Though now at this point, the cute 2-year-old has fallen asleep on Noah, which was adorable. And it gives Daisy and Noah a chance to have a conversation about the panic attack, and she's like, does your family know that this happens for you? And he's like, no, and I don't want him to. Basically, he doesn't want to admit that he's different, and he doesn't want to talk to him about his anxiety. So, and there's several, like, reaffirming things like, you know you're enough, right? And the way it's all handled is beautifully done. Like, seriously, Melissa did so much heavy lifting in the first 80 pages of this book. Like, queen. She's a total queen. I love her. But yes, this book is so good. It's doing so much. But in a way that's easily, like, accessible and readable and not, like, overwhelming. And that's something that you worry about going into a YA contemporary that might have harder hitting topics. The way that Melissa's come across all of this is very organic and very natural, and it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. I love it so much. I am seriously loving this book so much. And yes, it's just so good. It's really just so good. Like, I just can't. They're so cute. I love them so much. So I just finished chapter 12, and I'm going to pause for tonight. So basically, it's the most adorable 2 chapters I've read in a long time. These 2, I can't even with them. What the heck? They're so cute. So they basically go on a date to, like a double date to the Macy's Day Parade because her dad gets free tickets. And so these 2 and then her best friends that are a couple, and he knows the guy, they all go together. And while there, her friends are like, ask him to the dance, ask him to the dance. She's like, no, no. And then she goes up to him and she's like, no, you need to ask me to the dance. And he's like, oh, Daisy, will you go with me? And then he's like, oh my heck, like, I've been thinking about doing this all day. And then they go to the dance and they're adorable. And I can't even. And like, him getting ready for the date was so cute. And he was wearing a kilt because he's half Scottish. His dad is Scottish. And so he wears his kilt and it's adorable. And I love it. I just love them. I love them so much. But I'm going to pause for tonight because I'm not going to ever stop if I don't stop now. So I want to savor this. I don't want to just go through and consume it all. Melissa, I'm at work. But performance of a lifetime, and they kiss on stage publicly with little anxiety Noah. What the poop? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I'm home from work, but I did read a little more in You, Me, and Our Heartstrings while I was at work. So, I think I showed you my initial reaction to Daisy and Noah's performance. And kissing on stage, my little anxious beans going after that. Anyways, after that, they like run off stage. They're adorable. And they're at the after party and they're like, Noah basically asks, do you want to be with everybody else right now? And she's like, no, let's go somewhere. And they go and, you know, they start to be teenagers making out because that's what teenagers do. And, of course, stupid Bo, who I hate with such a passion, because he does not let up on Daisy, and he calls her differently abled, and I just want to kill him. I just want to strangle him. Because he's so rude. Basically walks in on them making out. And, you know, tries to, like, touch Daisy's violin, and she's like, no, don't touch it. And he tries to touch her without permission. Like, he is not okay. His behavior is not okay. Thankfully, he is consistently called on it. So, yes, me no likey him. And then Noah admits to Daisy and his friends that he has panic attacks and that he has anxiety. The way he did it with them was much more casual and very sweet, but then he immediately feels that pressure to go and talk to his own family about it because he's been afraid to tell them for a very long time. And the chapter where he tells his parents what's going on, just my heart. Sweet little Noah, who had to confront the people he loves the most and say, I need help. I lived that moment. Not that long ago. And the way Melissa encapsulated all of that. Not just Noah feeling nervous about telling them, Noah being nervous about their reactions to it, and how they just handle it as a family. I tagged the entire chapter with 3 tabs. Important, great representation, and great family moments. Because Melissa's done a great job of incorporating these teenagers' parents throughout the whole story. Like, they are very involved in what is going on with them. And I love it. So often in YA novels, the parents are just not there. And they work too much and blah, 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 blah. But the way that these parents are present as much as they can be, I mean, Daisy's family is technically lower income than Noah's, but, like, they still try to be there for Daisy as much as they can, and they come home every night, they see each other, all that kind of stuff. So, yes, I love it very much. And I could gush about this book forever, and I'm not even halfway through. All right, update time. So I just finished chapter 18. So I'm about at the halfway point of the book now. So Noah went to therapy. Proud of baby Noah. And it was very candid about his first appointment with his therapist. So I think that's going to be something that continues to be done on page. And I think it looks great on page. Totally and completely honest there. And then Noah went to Scotland with his family. Daisy is at home. Her family is still very conservatively Catholic, I think is the easiest way to say this. And so they worry about how people see them. And she still gets a lot of pitying looks and people trying to pray for her magic healing from her cerebral palsy. And it's just getting old for Daisy, which I understand. I mean, it's not anything that can be healed at this point in life. It's managed. And the way that Melissa, the author, has woven little things about the cerebral palsy throughout is stunning, because it's not done in a way to be pretentious or to draw too much attention to it. You can tell that it's just written in this is an everyday thing and this is just happening. That's why it's getting a description. And it's not every chapter that we're getting something like this. So it's not being thrown in your face constantly about her cerebral palsy. And it's still very much a part of her and a part of her life. And I do know that the hand is modeled after Melissa's. But yeah, it's just a very beautiful thing. And Daisy kind of has a meltdown after they come home after midnight mass, because they're Catholic. And while at midnight mass, this man is a total jerk, because all the ups and downs of midnight mass are starting to hurt her body because of her cerebral palsy. And so she sits for a minute. and the guy is behind them, and he basically is like, it's disrespectful to God for her to not be standing like the rest of us. And he's immediately called on it, thankfully. Her mom was about to step in, but Daisy stood up for herself, which was great. The relationship with her parents is very strained right now, just because she feels like she's not getting enough of her parents anymore, since the baby sister was born a couple of years ago. And she just feels like she gets dumped on babysitting duty and her parents work too much. And that's starting to come out a little bit more. But when she's about to have a breakdown, she sends her family to bed and she calls Noah, and they have a very sweet, like, FaceTime call. And Noah just is the perfect little precious being we need him to be for her. And I just loved it so much. It was a beautiful moment. This book is full of beautiful moments, and it's so adorable. Like, I can't. They're too cute. I just can't. I should not care so much about these two fictional characters, but I do. They mean the world to me now. And I want nothing but their happiness. And for people who are mean to them, people like this Beau that I want to strangle. Yeah, like, that's the level of care I have for fictional characters right now. That may be a problem for me, but I kind of don't care. I love them anyway. So I read a bit more. I now just finished chapter 22, I believe. So the viral moment has now happened. They have discovered that their performance has gone viral, and they're both kind of starting to freak out a little bit about it. Daisy doesn't want to go home and talk to her parents about it. And so Noah invites her to stay at his place with his family. And so she does that. She's not honest with her parents about where she goes, and says that she's going to Amal's house instead, which is one of her good friends. What happens is the Morays, Noah's family, knows the truth, and they flat out say, I don't like that we're lying to your parents. So they're like, we know the situation's weird, so we'll let it slide this one time, but no, it's not going to continue to happen that way. Which, can I be a pseudo-Moray? Like, Lewis and Mackenzie would have been the best kind of in-laws ever. I wish my in-laws were that great. I love them a whole lot. They're very caring, very considerate. Lewis even remembers how Daisy loves her tea. Like, it's adorable. I love them. And, you know, he's just this big Scottish man with a cello, and I love him. I just do. He's great. And Mackenzie is just this sweet, lovely woman. Them being present and being there is fantastic. I just really love it. It's one of those things that you never see in YA anymore. You don't see present parents. And I will continue to love that Melissa wrote 2 sets of present parents. I mean, you know, Daisy's parents work a lot, but they're still present in her life, as much as their jobs will allow. They don't like travel for work, but they're just working parents. And growing up with 2 working parents, I understand that. So I really appreciate the works Melissa's doing. Is like, seriously, like, my little tab thing is running out of swoony tabs and squeal tabs, because that's what keeps happening here. And when Daisy has her little sleepover, she does invite Noah into the bedroom with her, but they do not cross that line. They respect that line, and Daisy says, you know, sex is something that, you know, is going to be pretty far off for me. And he's like, okay, if that's ever something we do, it'll be something we both want. He just leaves it at that, and then they just cuddle and fall asleep. And it was perfect. It's exactly how teenagers should behave, because sex is a big deal. Sex, especially at that age, is a very big deal. Just because a lot more emotions are going to be wrapped up in it. I mean, to me, there always is. I'm always that person that is very emotionally attached to anyone that I share that side of myself with. So the fact that they're anxious right now and don't know what's going to happen, it's definitely not the right time. And I love that that is respected, that is said, and that they draw the line and there's no questions about the line being drawn. So kudos. Very, very happy. I'm going to read another little bit. I'm just really enjoying myself. And then I will pause for tonight and we'll probably have one more day of reading. So with that said, I'm going to read a little bit more. Like, y'all, my tabs. I hardly ever tab books in general, but tabbing this thoroughly and running out of tabs, like, never happens for me unless I do a very simple color scheme where my tabs are only like 3 colors. Then I'll run out sometimes. But the fact that I'm using every color from my strip here, and the fact that I have quite a few that are running low, but the ones that are running lowest are Squeal, Swoon, Great Rep, and Family. Like, come on. So great. Anyways, yes. Needless to say, 10 out of 10 would recommend this book already. And we still have almost a third to go. Final update for tonight. I just finished chapter 26, which puts me at about page 200. So I'm most of the way through the book at this point. Plan on finishing tomorrow. The last set of pages I read, which was, 30, 40 pages, I've felt pretty much every emotion humanly possible. I have felt love and happiness and rage and anger, and I've cried, and this book has done way more heavy lifting than it needed to. And so much of this book is Melissa and my heart. My heart. I love Daisy. I love Noah. And there's so much going on around them. And they're just trying to find their way through it all. And I'm really excited to see where this is going to go. Because Noah's still figuring out his anxiety stuff. He's been in therapy. He's now on some medication to try to help balance himself back out, as well as learning some tips and tricks in therapy. And he has all of this other stuff triggering all of the anxiety on top of everything. Then you've got Daisy, who has the world giving her attention just because she's disabled. Not because she's a talented musician, because she's disabled. And now the rest of the world has found out about someone had kept recording and got Daisy and Noah's first kiss on record and put it up on the internet. And so now a lot of other people have seen that moment that was precious to them, and it's kind of rocking their world right now. The other thing that's happened that caused all the rage and anger is people used the R word with Daisy online. And done in a very demeaning slur kind of way, not even done out of ignorance. At this point, it was just to be rude. And I can't, I can't, just So if that's a trigger for you, know that it is present, it is there, and rage and anger. Rage and anger. So much rage and anger. Because it was by multiple people. The moment Daisy saw that word in writing, that moment. I can't tell you. There are not words for how I feel reading that moment. And I am an able-bodied person. I have anxiety, but I do not have something like cerebral palsy like Daisy. And I was still fuming and raging and angry. And the fact that there was one sentence in particular that just made it all real for me in that moment. And that was, it was so different to read it than to have it thrown in my face. Something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, at this point. But the second that happened, I was like, oh no. Oh no. I texted Melissa, and I'm like, by the way, if I'm ever around you and somebody says that, you're probably going to have to bail me out of jail, because I will throat punch them. And assault charges will probably be levied. But anyways, I love this book. Gosh, I love this book. Oh, I love this book so much. I want to strangle their principal too, because he wants to take all this fame and exploit them and make them go on this Hope Baker show. And, oh, I just, no, because that all feels super gross. But at the same time, they know it's good for people to get excited about the music that they made and the music that they played together. So it's this double-edged sword where orchestra kids don't get the attention usually. And they know how important that is, but at the same time, it's coming for the wrong reasons. And they're grappling with that and what they're going to do about it. Hi. So, it's the next day. I had a very long day at work. I'm now in hunker down mode. But while I was at work, I read through chapter 32. So, the show has now happened. Daisy and Noah break up because of things that are said at the show. Essentially, Noah thinks he's coming to Daisy's defense, and he says some things that are actually harmful to Daisy because it's not acknowledging part of her. It's not an he was basically saying he doesn't see her cerebral palsy, he just sees her. And that in its own way is hurtful because her cerebral palsy is part of her. It doesn't ever go away. And so she felt like he didn't truly see her like she thought he did. And so they broke up. And they've both been sad, miserable teens because of this breakup. And they're both not doing super great about it. Noah actually has a great conversation with his dad about it, about how even the best relationships have struggles and bumps in the road. He's like, I don't know if you and Daisy are meant to be, but you'd have to know that the best things are worth fighting for and working out. And he shares a little bit of the backstory of him and Mackenzie, which Louis Murray is such an amazing man. I really love him. So I really just love this. And these two beans are absolutely precious. And I don't know if I'll check in again before I finish. I'm on page 235. Well, it's about 300 pages long, so I might check in one more time. But I might not, because I'm getting very sucked into the story at this point. So I just finished chapter 34. I'm going to kill Bo. I'm going to kill him. I have never felt more ragey than I do right now at a fictional character. Like, legitimately, I want to leap into the pages of this book and strangle this little punk. Like, I can't even. No. No, no, no. Grr. Feels so much grr. Feels so much mean. Oh, I can't even right now. I just can't. So much rage. Like, I really can't put it into words how angry I am. So essentially what happens is he doesn't listen to the barriers that Daisy's given him. He continues to touch her, approach her when she's alone, and do everything he can to harass her and make her feel awful about herself. Calls her the R word to her face. All of these things to try to belittle her and make her feel small and feel stupid and feel like the only reason why she's at this academy is her disability. We know that he's jealous of her. Noah called him on that very early on. But he went too far, and now Daisy's fallen and has gotten hurt. And I just can't. I can't, because he's the reason for it. And no. Very clear boundaries were set. Anytime any human sets a boundary with another human, that should be honored and respected. Period. End of story. But this punk doesn't want to respect anybody's boundaries for that matter. And I can't even with him. So, grr, anger, rage, hate, grr, grr, grr. I just finished. And this book is amazing, as you can see by all of my tabs. Great family representation, great disability representation, great anxiety representation. Melissa did a lot of hard work with this book, and I can tell why she's so proud of it, and I am so proud to be her friend She was sweet and kind enough to list me in the acknowledgments just for being her friend, and I love her desperately for it. But with that said, the conclusion to this book is absolutely perfect. Daisy and Noah flip things. Well, one, they figure out how to talk to each other and how to be together, and it's beautiful. All thanks to stupid Bo, but that's okay. Because it gives Noah the perspective he needs to realize that in that Hope Baker interview, he was ableist. And he needed to apologize to Daisy for it. So as soon as she gave him some time to talk and he said it the way she needed to hear it, they were able to work through it, and it was great. From there, they decided to control the narrative of the original viral video. And you see where things go after the viral video and after their Juilliard auditions. I'm not going to tell you what's in the epilogue. That's for those who have read it. It's beautiful. I loved it. 10 out of 10 would recommend. But yes, I love this book with my whole heart and soul. I'm so proud of my friend, and I love her so much. And I love Noah, and I love Daisy. I love the whole Moray clan. Daisy has some struggles with her own family, but hopefully they'll work through it. And yes. So with that said, time to close out this vlog. Thank you again to Melissa for sending me an early copy and allowing me to be part of her ARC team. Thank you for watching this video, because I want everybody to know and understand and love this book. I mean, it's very rare for me to love a YA so much, and I really loved it so much. I don't know how many ways I can say I love this. This is a 10 out of 5 stars. All-time favorite. Will go down in the record books as one of the best books I've ever read.
Was it all just a dream, just all in my